You're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. How we doing? How we doing? The cat's out of the bag. Aaron Rodgers, the story's eating up to the Raiders. And I want to bring this one to you. Aaron Rodgers, the story is starting to catch fire. I kind of jumped on this one a little while back. Aaron Rodgers to the Raiders is seriously developing. The Jets have parted ways, obviously, with Aaron Rodgers. And they looked at a couple of options. What could he do? Go to Tennessee or go down to Las Vegas? And obviously, the fans are really, they're just starstruck on Aaron Rodgers being a diva. I mean, that's rightfully so. But if you listen to the news now, it's picked up. You got Jeff Saturday, former teammate on ESPN, and he just calls it like it is. He's saying, look, here's the deal for Aaron Glenn with the Jets and trying to rebuild a culture. It's not a good place for Aaron Rodgers, but for the Raiders, it really fits. And what I really want to break down here for everybody is the Raiders with Aaron Rodgers. You're getting quite a bit, right? You're getting quite a bit. The Raiders are going to pick up, you're going to pick up 4,000 passing yards and 30 touchdowns. I mean, it was a bad year last year for Aaron Rodgers. However, if you look at the numbers for Rodgers and what he was able to do, I'll bring this to you. I mean, you're literally talking about 28 touchdowns and 11 interceptions, right? 28 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. That's mission critical. You look back at the season, the Raiders with Aaron Rodgers will be able to get back to the deep ball, right? They're going to be able to get back to the deep ball because what has Aaron done really well over the length of his career? Is throw the deep ball, and he's always sorting around the number of touchdowns. Now, is he doing the number that he did before? I would say no. But if you look at this collectively, for the Raiders, they just need consistency, and it's going to really work itself out. Now, Aaron, the NFL, I mean, has it been lumpy and bumpy? There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's been more lumpy than bumpy than anything else. But when you get a quarterback that can bring you 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns, and you're going to work under the umbrella of Pete Carroll, there's no doubt about it. And people say Tennessee. I think it's really warm weather. And I'll tell you this too. He'll spin the ball in mini camps, folks. I'm telling you, put Aaron Rodgers in the warm weather. He's going to spin that ball in the mini camp. I don't believe the reports that it's true. I think that there was in mini camp, folks, when you get guys in there and they want you to stand around, you're basically for a veteran QB, you're standing around watching. You're not going to get very much work done. However, you get in there to Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly. Now, this is not going to be the end all be all for the Raiders, but here's what the Raiders got to do. Raiders have to draft a quarterback. And when you draft that quarterback and Chip Kelly's got to make his selection, it gives the Raiders a lot of flexibility because you can look at your draft board and say, okay, do I need to draft a quarterback that has to play right now, today, tomorrow? Okay, that's a different type of quarterback. You got to scout that differently. Or am I going to draft a quarterback that can be in the room for a couple years and develop, right? Because we know Rodgers is 40 plus years old and so we got to get somebody in there that not only can do it, but can get in the room, get with Chip Kelly, ask the questions. And this is how it works. I mean, it's the same thing that a lot of people have done with the young quarterbacks. They have a veteran there so he can actually sponge and get ready. And that's what Aaron did for Jordan Love. Pretty much that happened with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers till Brett Favre figured out, hey, this guy can play. So I'm going to have to move on. Now, what do you got? You got a Broham or a Bro Love relationship, or call it what you want. But Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers are friends. They really are. And you want to talk about two divas? I know that on Facebook. I mean, keep it coming to the fans. You're always open. Money Mike will be respectful of your opinion because you're entitled to it and you're the fan and you push the story to ESPN. And now they're talking about it, and they're talking about it extensively because Aaron Rodgers obviously does want to come home. And he's been trying to do this for a long time, folks. From the day inception that he was drafted by the Packers, Mike Nolan said they were going to draft him number one. They didn't. He fell down to the Packers, right? Tried to come back once again. and he had a trade going on back to the Raiders, and this is back in 2012. He's trying to get out of there, trying to get back to the Raiders. On the table, didn't move, stayed in the organization. Right, Ted Thompson wasn't going to let that happen. Now you get back till today, and you got a new regime over there. I mean, you got Pete Carroll, and Pete's going to be different about this thing because Pete understands what it takes to win in the NFL, and unless the Raiders have another quarterback. And this ride for Raider Nation's been bumpy, and it needs to settle out. It needs to smooth out. It needs to get back into the regimen that it's always been, the Raider way. Al Davis, Mark Davis, and you have this brand where a lot of alumni come around the building and they want to be part of it, and that's what builds Raider Nation, and it helps the players because a lot of former Raider players have always become coaches. So it's not necessarily that you get the guys outside, but the Raiders have always had one or two guys that have been Raiders, and they come back and they coach with the Raiders. So this one here is getting really, really good to Money Mike because I'm excited. Why? Because you got ESPN is finally they're coming on board, right? And I always tell you, Money Mike Syndicated Radio podcast. It's my opinion, but if it turns the truth, then I given you the facts long before they happen. And I pretty much have said Rodgers to the Raiders is the right move for the Raiders because the Raiders are an organization that went into turmoil. Now you got to sand it out and you need the veteran quarterback. And you look at Rodgers being a diva and they say they doesn't want to come to camp or any of that. I think it really comes down to warm weather. And if Rodgers has got an opportunity, this is my heart of heart. I mean, I know Rodgers, I know the family, I know everything. I've been in Chico a long time, but I don't say this from a perspective of personal. I'm telling you from the perspective of the NFL. He tore his Achilles. The first year he battled back, that leg's extremely weak. That leg's going to get stronger. He's going to get more timing, more speed, more plyo, more drills. And he's not going to mind coming out in the mini camp spinning the ball, right? Because you got Chip and him are going to get together. You got Tom can get together. And this is a fail proof plan, folks. If you get all these guys in the same room, I don't think you're going to lose. I think you got to win, win, win. But it's the NFL, and I'll tell you, the NFL is 17 hard games, and you're going to play 3 more games if you're the division leader, 4 if you're not. So you're playing 21 games of football. You're going to need somebody that can has a lot of experience to cut through. Because let's face it, the Jets the first year, not much there. Second year, I really this one harped on me because Aaron and they looked at it. Well, Aaron didn't do this and didn't do that. But here's the deal: Aaron threw that rock for 3,897 yards, got 28 touchdowns, got 11 interceptions. The Raiders will take that all day long, any season, every season, to have a quarterback consistently throw for that amount. And if you look back, he got hurt, but then his last year in Green Bay, 3,600 yards, 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. You go to the year before that, he's throwing for 4,000 yards. Okay, he's got 37 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. You go back to 220, he's got 4,200, 4,300 yards, 48 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, folks. Those are crazy numbers to realize if that's what you're looking at for what Aaron Rodgers can do. Now, I'll tell you this. I'll always tell you this. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio podcast. I want to give a special shout out to Will out there who, as Will Kiss, who is getting it done as Vice President of Communications. He's done this overhaul 2 or 3 times now in the career, and he's still standing tall. I'll tell you, Tom Brady, ain't no doubt about it. Aaron Rodgers, they got a relationship, and they love to dance in Oakland. I'll tell you and bring it on. Chip Kelly needs a veteran quarterback, no doubt about it. Pete Carroll knows how to win in the NFL, and Pete Carroll can win with Aaron Rodgers. The cat's out of the bag now. Mike Tannenbaum, former GM of the New York Jets, is open to Raiders signing on Aaron Rodgers. ESPN, Stephen A. wants Pittsburgh, but now he's going to the warm weather. The game is a game. Jeff Saturday knows it well. He's on ESPN as well, and he made it very clear. Aaron Rodgers and the Raiders is a good fit, no doubt about it. They brought up Tennessee, but I don't think so. Aaron wants to come home, play in front of home, be with family, and finish out his life and let it do what it do. I'll tell you this, the Jets, that stop really didn't happen, but Aaron Rodgers, he's coming home, and it's going to be to the LA L.A., Oakland, Las Vegas Raiders. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We'll always tell you all things are possible to those who believe. A picture says 1,000 words. The game is a game, and the hometown hero has a great opportunity to potentially come back home. We'll see you soon. Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast coming to you under the umbrella of 2Hot Radio, 2Hot Tickets, and Rock Nation. The Raiders will return to excellence. Just win, baby. There's only one way to do it, and that's the Raider way. All things are possible to those who believe. We're going to get better and better, so you go higher and higher, and the Raiders will return to excellence in the NFL.